Eagles Nation, what is up? Tom, Views from the Link, back for another episode of Bird Buzz. We got New England, Tampa Bay tonight, and a lot of people think Tampa Bay is one of those teams to watch out for. So, weird camera angle, everything's coming at you sideways, but got a new computer, so using it. I did the video last night. Wasn't really too pleased with the laptop and the lighting, so I did a new one. I'm doing a new one. It's Thursday morning. And I'm really excited to get into week 5. The Eagles have a big game against the Arizona Cardinals, and how about them Eagles against the Chargers? Big win. Haven't been back on the web series since. However, I was at the game, and it was really good. Eagles fans flooded that stadium. It was unreal. So back to what I was saying before. I mean, I started a sentence and I kind of just fragmented away, but Tampa Bay is one of those teams that a lot of people are looking out for and saying that they could make some headway here in the NFC. So tonight, playing the Patriots, I think this is a good test for them to come out and show what they're possibly capable of. It could be one of those signature games for them. I have Tom Brady in fantasy, so I got to have him, look good. And so I'm looking for a lot of things, and I think I'm starting Deshaun Jackson, and I haven't fully made the decision, but I think I'm going to go Deshaun Jackson and hope for one of those big plays from him. So got a lot to look for. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then we got a couple fantasy players for me to look out for. So I'm really interested in seeing how the Bucks play. I haven't really seen them this year. They had that weird bye week during week 1, and I've been one to say that I don't really buy what they're selling. But tonight, Bucks, you can win me over. Let me see how you play tonight. Let me see Jameis Winston. Let me see how they respond to a good team and see if they are ready to make that next step. But enough about that game. Cam Newton said some controversial comments about females talking about routes in sports reporting, and I personally don't really agree with him having that reaction. I think you got to respect everybody who's trying to work at their profession, their craft, whatever the case is. I don't think it's fair to say that about anybody in their profession. To say that it's funny to hear a female talk about routes is like anything with generalization. And in the middle of this fight for equality that the world is enduring right now, I think that we need to stick together and not put people into buckets and just accept and respect everybody for what they want to do. So. I don't think that there's any place for judging somebody off of race, religion, gender, anything like that in their profession. I don't think there's any specific job that only a certain type of person can do. It has nothing to do with, traits of learning something or, understanding something. Don't have anything to do with who you are, genetically. So I think that I don't know. I just would have chose my comments a little wiser, and I just would have answered the question. I mean, if he really does believe that, if he really was, if that's really his belief, then he could have kept that to himself. And amongst a room full of, it was at a press conference that he said that. So amongst a room full of that journalist's peers, that was probably pretty embarrassing for her. So there's a lot of angles to look at, and if it was my mother or my sister, or if I had a daughter and that was her, that would pretty much. That would upset me. It would pretty much throw a whole wrench in my week hearing that, and it would be really unsettling to me, and I would feel for that person even more. But I don't even know her, and I studied journalism, so it hits home and how hard it is, to work up to being a journalist, and then especially for women because of things like that, because of the thing Cam Newton said. I mean, women have a harder time in those career those career paths in sports. Because of the notion that women don't know sports. I think it's phony. I don't agree with it. You don't have to agree with me, but that's just my stance on it, and that's really all I'm going to say about that. So I'm going to move into the questions. It's Thursday. It's Bird Buzz. We had a lot of good questions, so got my phone here. I'm going to get into them. We got Eagles Cardinals coming up on Sunday, and I mean you can't overlook a Cardinals team that is 2-2, and they're fighting to stay alive in the NFC and in their division. So. I'm going to get into the questions here. We got the first question. At 808 Eagles asks, What do you think is the main reason the passing game is not developing for Wentz and the wide receiver core? Now, in the first 2 games of the season, Wentz threw for 300 yards in each one. And then since then, the run game has picked up. And the receivers, whether Wentz is missing a guy deep or Torrey Smith, dropping that ball in the last game. Wentz missed Alshon deep in the Giants game. So I think that you're seeing a mix of chemistry and a mix of a young quarterback continuing to get better and continuing to tweak things and improve. You're seeing Zach Ertz and Nelson Aguilar looking the best, and it's because I think it's because that they have the most comfortability with Carson Wentz. They're very, settled in with Carson Wentz, and they know him. They know, how he plays. I think Alshon and Torrey are still trying to figure that out. That doesn't excuse drops, and that doesn't excuse overthrows. You got to hit those. But I think as the season goes on, more plays will open up, especially with the run game churning the way it is. If you let LeGarrette Blount and company, the new three-headed monster, you let them run all over you, hey, that's your choice. But if you try to load up and stop it, don't think Carson Wentz can't attack you, because he will. So hopefully we see a little bit of the two dimensions of the offense come out this Sunday and really get going. But I think it's just about patience. I think got to wait on these receivers and Carson Wentz to continue to improve weekly, and I think they will. At Ethan Regal asks, who is the best team in the NFL? And in parentheses, he says, you know who it is. Well, I do. I think it's the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that they're playing better football than anyone in the league. Started with a big win over the Patriots opening night, continued with a win against the Eagles, and they just keep winning. They haven't lost a game yet, and they're just playing football the way it should be played. Smart decisions from their quarterback, explosive receiver in Tyreek Hill, and an explosive running back in Kareem Hunt, a true difference maker. And then you got the defense, of course, that has guys in the secondary. Even without Eric Berry, they got Marcus Peters back there. He's playing good football, and he's actually struggled, and they're still playing well. So it's crazy because of their pass rush, and then that's obviously the end all is Justin Houston, D Ford, Andy Reid's always valuing that pass rush, and he definitely has a good one over in KC. So that's my pick for best team in the NFL. J. Brad 1325 asks, who else do the Cardinals have other than Larry? Well, they have a couple speed receivers on their offense, Jerron Brown, John Brown, and J.J. Nelson. They have a veteran quarterback in Carson Palmer, and with David Johnson hurt, they've got veteran running backs, Andre Ellington and Chris Johnson. So, those guys, who they are. You know what you're going to get, and they're pretty productive players, that when they are on the field, they can make plays. So you can't really overlook them. They have a lot of veterans on their team. And then on the defense, they have the same. They have Patrick Peterson. They have Chandler Jones. They have Tyrann Mathieu. So I think that you're looking at the Eagles as a better team, but the Cardinals are a veteran team that need a win just as bad as the Eagles do. And I think that you'll see a lot of fight in the Arizona Cardinals come Sunday. I don't overlook any team. I think the NFL is so good. It's so hard to win in the NFL, and I think that Arizona is going to look to they're going to look to do it. They're going to look to come out, use those veteran pieces, and beat us. So we got to be aware. Everyone's got to be on their A game for sure. It's Miles asks, does the run game continue to have success? Also, what's your score prediction for the game if you have one? Well, I hate predicting the score, but I did take the Eagles. I'm 4-0 in my predictions. Yes, I had them losing against the Chiefs, and they did. Obviously, I don't go into games thinking, oh, they're going to lose, I'm not even going to watch it. I always think, hey, let's win, let's get the win. But if I do make my predictions and I try to be, unbiased and honest about it, I do have the Eagles. However, I don't really know if I can predict a score. I would say Eagles score over 25, they win the game. So 27-20, 27-17. Hopefully the Eagles defense can step up. And my dog's trying to get up here. Hey, come here. Hey, one of my dogs. So this is Rosie. So so I think that the Eagles they definitely can, if they score high 20s, they win. So I'm going to predict 27-17. And then will the run game keep going? Well, I think it has to, because that's what's been the difference these last couple weeks in the games is the run game. I mean, LeGarrette Blount is just churning, and then you have the three-headed monster. You have Wendell Smallwood making an impact, and you have even Corey Clement, an undrafted free agent, making an impact. So it's great. It's got to keep that run game going. Have to. LG's the big horse, but you got to get those other guys involved too. And if it keeps going, we win the game easily. Okay, the new Legacy 78 asks, do you think our offensive line can handle their front six? Well, usually it's front seven, maybe a typo, who knows? Maybe they have 6 notable guys. I'm not really aware. I know a couple of them. I'm not going to act like I know a ton of the guys. I know they picked Hassan Reddick from Temple, which is where I went to school, and but I know they're tough. I know they have a really athletic front. They're tough. That's kind of the style. They lost Calais Campbell, but to answer the question, I do think the offensive line can handle them. Lane Johnson and Jason Peters held Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram to 0 sacks last game. Ingram and Bosa in their last 15 games have 23.5 sacks combined. So that's a big time feat. That's huge. That's big to build on. And these guys, Johnson struggled first 2 games with Justin Houston and Ryan Kerrigan, who I think he struggles with those guys. Kerrigan definitely, but Houston, the last time his rookie year was the last time we played the Kansas City Chiefs, and he struggled with Houston. Houston dominated. So I think that those guys, to dive into the season and have to face those guys, get his feet wet a little bit. But now against the Giants, the offensive line was pretty good against that front line, and then against the Chargers, they were awesome, paving the run and keeping Wentz clean for the most part. So be patient with the run. Offensive line can handle the Arizona Cardinals. I think they can handle elite pass rushes around the league, and I don't think the Cardinals are really at the elite level, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Folk 2 times asked, with talks of Fletcher Cox being out, do the Eagles still dominate on defense? Now, I think that they can. I think there's a lot of other guys that make plays, but it's good to keep in mind that Fletcher Cox, Ronald Darby, and maybe even Sidney Jones are all coming back within the next couple weeks. So if we weather this storm until the bye week, we might have all 3 of those guys back on the field together. I think Darby and Cox will come back before the bye week, but if Sidney Jones can come back after the bye week and finish the season out healthy, I think that'd be huge. I really do. I think that would be huge for his confidence, for this team, and for the franchise of just drafting him and having him come back healthy, going into the offseason healthy, getting that full offseason after getting reps. So we're going to see. We're going to see exactly what happens there. But I think they can play well on defense. When they get those guys back, though, they should dominate and for years to come because these guys are young and they're just getting better. So I can't wait for it. That Ninja Zay asks, do you think Sidney Jones will play with this year because he tweeted 7? Do you think that means he will start practicing in week 7 or 7 more weeks? I think he's coming off the list that he's on. I forget exactly what list. It's like a PUP list, like a physically unable to perform list. I think it's called something different, but I think he did delete the tweet, by the way. So I think he got a little hype and then they were like, hey, calm down. So I think that he's coming off the list week 7. He'll start practicing, and a month later, 4 weeks later, after the bye, I think they're going to try to get him out on the field to see how he feels in practice and then try to get him out on the field once he's, back physically up to speed. Mentally up to speed, I think he is that already. I think he's mentally, in everything. I think traveling with the team, being around the team every day has really paid dividends, and that's what the coaches are saying. So hopefully they're telling the truth. Hopefully, they're not just blowing smoke, but I think that he is going to be ready to go after the bye week, and I think they're going to try to get him some reps and ease him in and try to get him to finish the season healthy with some reps under his belt, just like I just said before. I really do. So hopefully Sidney Jones can get that going, but I think week 7, man, we're going to get really excited because this dude's going to start practicing, and it's going to be fun to watch. So him and Darby on the outside is going to be crazy. Or put one of them in the nickel. Patrick Robinson's been great in the nickel, though, so Douglas outside. You got a rotation, and then you got Jalen Mills. So we have a really young group of cornerbacks, a really deep group of cornerbacks. And Patrick Robinson being the veteran, holding down that nickel spot where he's excelled in his career as a nickel corner. I really like the way that this defensive backfield is shaping up and could shape up toward that home stretch of into the playoffs and really maybe propel us into the playoffs. So it's something to be excited for. And then the last question, JRush00 asks, how is Darby and Cox's injuries looking? We need them back ASAP. And just like I said, we're getting these guys back within the next couple weeks. We got to weather this storm. We have 4 of our next 5 games at home. The away game being a Thursday nighter against Carolina. The other games being Denver, San Fran, Arizona, and I'm obviously going to blank on the last one. Oh, and the Redskins on Monday night. So those are the 4 home games, and then you have the Carolina game at Thursday night on the road. Going to get to see the Eagles in prime time. It's going to be great. So it's football season. What else can you be upset about? I mean, there's nothing to be upset about. This Eagles team's playing well with injuries, and they're overcoming them, and they're going to get healthy as the season goes on. So we're going to get into the thick of things. We're going to have all our guys back to battle. Hopefully we stay healthy for the rest of the season after that. But if there's any injuries to sustain the good players, it's early in the season while you can weather the storm and then get them back for that stretch. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this game. Again, I got the Eagles winning. Link got to be rocking. If you're going to the game, get loud, get rowdy. Send these boys off with a W. Send them to Carolina. Short week. The Eagles actually play a week from today, and they play Sunday in between that. So we gotta really, really, really commit. Like Doug Peterson said, the Eagles have to commit to these next 2 weeks, and then they get a little, a long rest. And then you probably get Fletcher Cox and Ronald Darby back for that Redskins game. So, wow, we got a really big opportunity in front of us to take that next step as a team, and I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it, and I will see you on Bird Buzz next week. Let's go, Eagles. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the game tonight, and enjoy the game on Sunday, guys. I will be seeing you later. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's go.